Yes, people, good afternoon. It's your boy Gumsa. We're here for another episode. Armoury TV. Let's get straight into it. Yes. Good afternoon, people. Hope everyone's well. It's your boy Gumsa. We're back for another episode on the Armoury TV. It's a bit of a mix show today. It's a transfer show with a little bit of a twist. I'm going to give some different kind of thoughts, different perspective on a couple of things that's going on at the Arsenal at the moment. So hope everyone's having a good Sunday. We're gonna get into it. First of all, I do want to give a biggest shout out to the two players representing England under 19 in their Euro win Friday night. Two boys that were from Reading, so Bashir Humphreys, big up yourself, and Jamie Boyne Geertins. One's playing for Chelsea and one's at Dortmund. Both fantastic players. Had the pleasure of watching them as kids grow up playing football and seeing their developments being unreal. So yeah, big up to you two. Congratulations for the rest of the England squad, and I'm sure we're going to see you in the Three Lions first team in a couple of years' time. Both got huge potential. But now that's wrapped up. Now to the Arsenal. Um, Again, the transfer news is bubbling along nicely. Arsenal do look really aggressive with what's going on. Um, the main two again, Lisandro Martinez from Ajax and Tillemans from Leicester City. And you know me already, I like to go a bit deeper into the thinking process. I like to get a little bit deeper into it. So I think everyone's getting very confused with. It seems like we've got everything kind of in place for Tillemans. We've spoken to the agents from January. He wants to come to Arsenal. Um, Personal terms wouldn't be an issue. That's kind of all been agreed and taken care of. It's just putting a bid into Leicester. Whereas we seem to be a lot more aggressive with Martinez. So it got me thinking, like, how comes we haven't secured the Tillemans bid yet? Like, it's not major money we're talking. Do you know what I mean? 25 to 30 million, depending on which kind of outlet you listen to. Um, he wants to be at Arsenal, which is the most important thing. When the player wants to come, makes it life a little bit easier to get them. Um, so what's taking it so long? So I'm one of them people thinking just go and get it done. We've seen what's happened with Martinez. We've seen what's happened with Rafinha. Sometimes you've got to get these transfers done early and they come in. Tillemans needs to be stalling a bit. Now, my thought is we're going to get to my thought in a minute. We're going to get to Martinez first because it sounds like Man United are heavily interested in him. Now, if you're like me and a lot of other fans, when you hear Martinez going United, it's a no-brainer in certain aspects because Ten Hag was his manager at Ajax. So for the last how many years he's had Ten Hag. Ten Hag now at United. So to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. He would want to go there ahead of Arsenal. Equally, if you look at Arsenal's back four, um, again Tierney, Gabriel, White, and Tomiyasu, it kind of picks itself. It's going to be very hard for someone to break into that to begin with. So he may have to wait a little bit to get that first team spot at Arsenal. Whereas not being disrespectful to United, but their back four is not as settled. They haven't got a right back, to be fair. I don't know who starts in at right back at the moment. It's Wan-Bissaka or Dalot. Centre backs, again, Varane's very injury prone. A bit like Tierney, quite injury prone. Maguire's Maguire. Lindelof is all right. And the left back, Luke Shaw. So for me, Martinez breaks into that United back four a bit easier. Varane could play on the right side of the fence and Martinez can go on the left side, which means Harry Maguire drops to the bench. Luke Shaw obviously plays in, well, let's just say Wan-Bissaka. So I think he has an easier time of getting into that back forward than Arsenal. So in my head, it was once United come in, if they put the money up, he's going to go there. Obviously, reports coming out today are saying something a little bit different, that he's still open to the Arsenal move. I think it's obviously Ajax are happy because the bidding kind of process between Arsenal and United are going to keep driving the price up. So it could just be one of us trying to drive the price up for the other one now. Because Arsenal maybe know we might not get him, may think, well, if we keep bidding, Ajax are going to turn down United's bid, and then United they have to come over a bigger bid. So we might end up, Man United might end up spending 5 to 10 mil more than they would like to. However, maybe it's not that. Maybe there's more to it. the project Arteta's looking to build, maybe that might have some say so. And then it got me thinking of his position in this Arsenal team if he was to sign. Again, this is not he's going to sign. Before you lot start clipping me and getting on to me, I don't want to happen to me what happened to on Monday this morning. But him coming to Arsenal, would we see a little something different? So everyone will say, would we go to a back three? I'm thinking, would there be a different position for him? So let's take you back a few years when we signed Partey, and I think this goes hand in hand with the Tillemans thing as well. Um, we was pushing really hard for Hassan Al. We looked like we wanted more of a 8 than a 6. Um, we were really pushing for him. Partey, we knew what we needed to do to get that deal done, because he had the buyout clause. So we was pushing for Hassan Al. Um, and to me, they're different style players. One's more of a kind of creative attacking player, and Partey's more of a box to box. But what we know was we wasn't going for a DM at that moment. We was going for a kind of an advanced 8, a higher position. So obviously still had that kind of played out. We was going through, we was trying everything. His agent, his brother, was having some mad terms, and then on the last minute, Arsenal kind of said, right, we're not going for him. We're going to get Partey. And why I think that's important is because at that moment we wasn't trying to buy a DM. Now, Partey's role at Arsenal, when he's come in, we're looking like the new Vieira. We're giving him all them titles. Didn't quite live up to expectations to begin with, and then Arteta changed his role to more of a 6, and that's when we started to see the best of Partey. Equally, we saw the best of Granit Xhaka as well. Um, so the change in positioning definitely helped Arsenal, and I'm going to bring this up because I think it's important as well when you start looking at things a bit later on, with and without Partey. So with Partey, 23 games, 56 points, and then without him, 15 games, only 13 points, and that's a massive difference. And you can see what he brings to the table. And that's him playing a deeper role. And what we lacked when Partey got injured was that player to play in a deeper role and kind of progress the game for us. We really struggled. So this is my theory. Does Martinez come in to play next to Partey? So when Partey first come to Arsenal, he was meant to be the advanced player in the midfield potentially, because that's why we was looking at Aouar. It would have been Xhaka would have been the holding. Aouar would have been the creative. Aouar didn't come. We got Partey. Now Partey's a box to box. We all know it. It didn't work. Partey and Xhaka playing them positions within the midfield didn't work. It's the same two players, but different roles. It didn't work for whatever reason. We then adapted Partey's position. He became the deeper, the vocal point in that midfield. He's getting on the ball and transitioning, and Xhaka had more of a free license. And if you watch the breakdown earlier in the season, there was times where Xhaka was playing next to Partey, and it wasn't really working. And once we moved Xhaka forward into the 8, we started seeing a better Xhaka. So it's a ploy to actually say, right, we put another DM in, so we get Martinez. He'll play the deeper role, and maybe Partey has more of a free box-to-box role, which we feel he'd probably be more effective in. This is just my theory of why this might be attractive to Martinez, because yeah, everything points to Man United. However, maybe a different position for him, more of an advanced position as number 6 or centre midfielder, maybe that's more attractive. Equally, I think why that then puts him ahead of Tillemans for Arsenal is because we all know the problems we have with Kieran Tierney. So actually, an injury to Tierney, what we've seen sometimes is Lokonga comes in midfield and Xhaka goes out to left back. So instead of that, maybe the flip is Martinez is centre midfield with Partey. If Partey's injured, Xhaka comes in and he plays the advanced midfield role, and Martinez is the defensive midfielder. So again, we're not asking El Nene or Lokonga to do that, because we all know Xhaka's not the greatest at playing that defensive midfield role. He's been better as the more advanced option. So Martinez naturally starts for me ahead of Xhaka, with Partey as the 8. If Partey's injured, which happens quite often for us, Xhaka comes in as the advanced 8. If the left back's injured and Partey is not, Partey goes back into the defensive midfield role, Xhaka goes into the 8, and Martinez goes left back, or even left centre back if Gabriel's injured. Because we know the Xhaka Partey combination with Partey as a deeper player works pretty well for Arsenal. So it's about adapting our fullback. If there's an injury to Gabriel or Tierney, the fullback is the option of Partey and Xhaka, which we know work quite well. Because again, you look at these numbers: 23 games, 56 points with those two. So it's about evolution of the squad, but creating a correct cover. Now, I'm not saying Tillemans can't do the deeper role like Martinez. We've seen him play deep for Leicester, but is he as defensively astute as Martinez? And this is my theory of maybe why we haven't gone and got Tielemans yet. It's because Martinez offers a bit more. Obviously, Tielemans is cheaper. So with Tielemans, the money you have left over, do you go and get Grimaldo, who will play left wing back or left back? So you've got your left back cover, you've got your centre midfield cover, or starter, I should say, sorry. And that's going to come in cheaper than Martinez. The only thing you then don't have cover for is your left-sided centre back. However, Saliba can play there. And that's obviously then a lot more minutes for him. If Gabriel's injured or Ben White, he comes in for either position. And you still have Holding. So you still have 4 centre backs. Tomiyasu can obviously come in there as well. You have your 2 left backs in Grimaldo and Tierney, and your midfield of Tielemans, Partey, El Nene, Lokonga, and Xhaka. So either way, we got enough players if we do it that way with Tielemans and Grimaldo. Just is Tielemans good enough to do the defensive role better? So if Partey is injured, Tielemans and Xhaka might not be the better combination because you may be asking Xhaka to do the role we know he's not as good at. So that's my theory of maybe why Martinez is our number 1 target and we haven't secured Tielemans yet. For me, you go and get both of them. In an ideal world, my football manager world, I'll go and get both because, again, there is going to be a lot of rotation with Thursday night football, games on a Sunday, in the cup competitions. But I thought it was just a little bit of insight to see maybe why the Tielemans still hasn't been done yet. Because, again, as I said earlier, it looks like an easy deal to get done. However, why are Arsenal stalling? And as I said, I'll take you back to a couple of years ago, Hassan Aouar and Thomas Partey. Everything was looking like we was going all in for Aouar, as I said earlier. And on the last day of the transfer window, we kind of said, right, they're asking for too much. Shut that down. Partey comes in. And as I said, yes, they're different players, those two. But Partey's role was a box to box when he came in, and Aouar was an attacking 8. Xhaka was the deeper player. And that's kind of flipped, and we've had to change it to suit the system and suit the players. Again, Xhaka's profile is not really made for that deep line role as good as Partey. So I feel Martinez may, maybe why he likes the project at Arsenal is maybe it's a different position for him. Maybe it's a centre mid role where actually, yeah, you're covered for the other positions if there's injuries, but you're starting the centre mid. Because again, why would you pick Arsenal over Ajax when not sorry Ajax when why would you pick Arsenal over United when Ten Hag's the boss and you've played under him? He knows your capability. So it really, him going to United, he's got an added advantage. He's played how many years with Ten Hag, so he walks into that team because he knows Ten Hag's philosophy and what Ten Hag wants for that position. So the others have now got to learn Ten Hag's system. Martinez is really acute with that system. He's played it for many years. So for me, if he is to pick Arsenal, there has to be a reason why, and it can't just be the project Arteta's building. I think it's more to it. I think maybe the position might be something he might be interested in. Again, this is just my theory on it because it doesn't make sense why going for a left back or a centre back is delaying you signing a centre midfielder in Tielemans. So for me, it's a case of either or. I don't think we get both. I could be proved wrong. It could just be we're just focusing all our eggs on this transfer to start with, and then we go and get Tielemans, knowing that it's an easy deal to get done. Again, the clubs will be talking to agents. They know what teams are in for who. They could be saying to Tielemans, listen, to sit tight. We are coming to get you. We just got to get these other things done first, but we're definitely coming. Again, we've seen that with Rafinha. It looked like Arsenal odds on. Chelsea didn't come and put the money up, whereas Arsenal were trying to haggle. Chelsea put the money up for some reason. It hasn't gone over the line. And that's probably because Barcelona are talking to Deco and saying, look, just let him sit there for a little bit. We will be coming for him, but we have to get the money in first and whatever else it is. So, yeah, the Tielemans one, again, I'm not panicking over that one. I feel it will get done, but I just thought I'd put something else out there to see maybe why we haven't gone and got him yet. It could be maybe he sees Martinez as the centre midfielder with the option of covering left back, left centre back. And then Xhaka comes in. And as I said, the Xhaka Partey balance works pretty well. It's worked pretty well this season. So it's not going to be losing too much. Again, if everything with Arsenal, what we saw last year is when we were full strength, we were pretty good. Do you know what I mean? We were on par with top 4. Once 2 injuries, key injuries, left back and centre back went, centre midfield, went, then you saw the standard really drop. And I think Martinez maybe offers a bit more cover for Partey, as well as can maybe play next to Partey. Because again, he could be the deeper one of the two, get on the ball and play. He's very comfortable on the ball. Again, very physical in the tackle. We may need that with the high press. We want to press higher. You need those guys that are combative and can get around the pitch. And I think Xhaka doesn't cover ground the best. So him next to Partey will work pretty well. Again, he's the defensive one. So if Partey's injured, he could sit next to Xhaka and look after things, and Xhaka could play the 8, which he played end of last year, and he played pretty well. And equally, if Tierney's injured, then we know Xhaka Partey works together. He goes left back, or he goes left centre back, and Gabriel's out. So there's a lot more you can do with him than you could do with Tielemans. So I think that's maybe why we're looking at him as our number one, and that's maybe why we haven't gone for Tielemans yet. So, but time will tell. I'm going to get to some comments. Shawnee Boy 12345 is saying he wants United. Unfortunately for Martinez, yeah, unfortunately for Martinez, he wants United. They're in the mud, but you never know. It could be an element. I heard people talking about maybe the disruption of Ronaldo now might have him thinking, do I really want to go there? Again, I could see the lure of United and why he would want to go to United over Arsenal, but also maybe the project at Arsenal is kind of in a good process at the moment, so it might be looking more attractive in that sense, Arsenal. But the Ten Hag factor is a massive factor. Silver Fox is here. What are you saying, brother? I hope you're well. Below Davis, what are you saying, brother? You good? Martinez is getting hijacked, rude boy. United all the way. We've got a lot of United fans in here today. Well, Guns, what's cooking? Do you think you're getting Martinez across the line? Do you move on or try and get the Tielemans deal done before anyone else jumps in? So yeah, I've kind of answered that already. I think it's either or. I hope it would be horrible not to get Tielemans. Again, he's Premiership proven. So it kind of makes sense to go and get him. And you don't know how I feel about Prem proven players. I'm not saying it's the be all and end all. We've seen lots of players come from different countries and hit the ground running, but I just don't think Arsenal have done it enough and gone and got players from, not being disrespectful, teams that are kind of below Arsenal and doing well. We haven't done it often enough. Gone and got those players, because if they're doing well at a lesser team, they should be exceptional when they come to a better team, isn't it? So that's for that reason I want Tielemans, but I can see why Martinez is attractive to Arteta, because he can do a number of different roles well, which does help. Do you know what I mean? Um, Jason said he thinks it's going to get complicated with how the two teams see Martinez playing for them. But to hear Ronaldo wants to leave could play a part as well. It gives a perspective of United's current state. Yeah, um, there's no denying United are a big club, massive club. But at the moment, not even league position, but it's just what you're seeing around the club. It doesn't look great, does it? The Ronaldo thing's a bit of a shock. Maybe he's frustrated at how the transfer window is going for United, because there was rumours at the end of the season he wants Champions League football. He sat quiet for 2 months now. So it's like maybe he could have come out at the start and said it and give United a bit more time to go and sort out what's going on. But to come out now after pre-season's about to start back, he's probably obviously seen no movement by United and just thinks, well, how's it going to get better? So we're going to see. Jason saying Martinez can play 3 different positions. The question is, can we convince him that left back and DM is going to be better for him in the Prem over centre back role he currently plays? And that's the thing. Again, for a lot of people that play defence, not it's hard to say. Not some defenders love being defenders, but some guys do want to play a bit further up the pitch, so that might work in his favour. Now, don't get me wrong, United could offer him that as well, but again, the project of where United are to where Arsenal are might be what's attracting him to Arsenal if he is to come to Arsenal. But I do feel the Ten Hag factor really puts United ahead of us. I think if United didn't have Ten Hag, I would be confident we get him. But that is a major factor, him having Ten Hag, knowing how Ten Hag wants to play. He's played in that system a long time, which means even in training, just little things. If Ten Hag's working with the defenders, when he's doing a demonstration, I guarantee he says, Martinez, show them this quickly, or we're going to do this, and you play with Martinez. Because as a coach, I've done it myself. If you're doing something, you want to do it with the person who could do it the best. So it's smooth in a demonstration. So if he's got all them experience years doing it with him, he's going to say, right, this is what I expect from you. And then obviously, not saying Varane has got the IQ, but Varane, obviously, have Lindelof and that will then pick up from that, because Martinez has done it with Ten Hag. So that's why I put him as favourite to go United, but time will tell. Silver Fox is saying United are favourites. If Edu and Arteta sell the project well, we can get him. United are in a worse state than us. That is definitely the truth. In a worse state, but we have the pull of Eric Ten Hag. There you go. So I think a lot of people are in agreement, and it's quite nice to hear United knowing that you're in a worse state than Arsenal. It's beautiful to hear. Mashamba Ben, why Premier League teams jealous of Arsenal transfer? What I will say is, it seems like years have gone by where Arsenal will link with players, and then you see every other club link with players, and it's coming back to that state, which is a credit to our scouting system. Everyone we kind of link with, other teams are trying to jump ahead and get, and it's not saying they haven't done their due diligence on the player. Obviously, they have, but for me, it's nice to hear that we're linked with some of them players again that other teams actively want. We know where we really are. Do you know what I mean? We know we're not Champions League at the moment. Like, even if we might get back there next year, let's be realistic. Like, the Premier League is no joke. When you look at what Tottenham are doing in that window, again, you look at United. Yes, they've had a bad season, but under a new manager, with the players they have got at their disposal, like one or two good additions, and they're going to be right back up there pushing. Liverpool and City are gone clear. Chelsea at the moment, like, I was confident maybe we take Chelsea's place, but what they're looking to do in the market, if they do pull off some of them signings, like that's another massive team to kind of challenge with. So we might have a really good year, get more points than we've had in a long time, and it still might not be enough for top four. So definitely got to look at kind of this, again, be realistic with our expectations. And we're playing catch up. We've been playing catch up for years, and these teams aren't slowing down their spending. So it's not like we can have a year where we think, right, we can catch them this year because they're not buying. These teams are investing heavily as well. So it's going to be an interesting season. Um, Jason saying rumours Newcastle interested in Tillemans. Think that could ramp up our interest in him. I would say yes, but this is Arsenal, and it didn't happen with Ramirez. Like, that was the one we've been looking at for years. Newcastle put the bid in, and we still didn't go and get him. So who knows of Arsenal? One thing that shows me of Arsenal, especially with the Vieira deal, is we'll be working behind the scenes, and maybe things are a smokescreen. What you're seeing and hearing, we could be doing something completely different because Vieira come from nowhere. There was links of us with another Porto player, and out of the blue, bang, we just got to sign this kid. So you never know what's happening. We definitely had talks with them, but you never know. You never know. Lawrence is here again, or Diablo Davis, the alter ego. With Eric Ten Hag, he could play DM and centre back. Very versatile player. We need both positions, but may not have the funds. So it makes sense for United to get Martinez to cover both positions if needed. Yeah, and very similar to Arsenal. I do think we have more of a solid back four, more of a back four that's doesn't really need too much change at the moment. Whereas I think United's does need a little bit of fine tuning. Let's say so. I think that's where he'd get a nod in that defense. That defense. DM, I think both of us could do with him, like you're saying. I think he's an improvement on McTominay, and he's an improvement on Xhaka for me. So again, does this mean we can release Partey? If we get him in, do we move Partey to the box-to-box role? And he plays DM. And again, I think he's defensively a lot better than what both of us have got in that position. So for me, it makes sense. And we can see the best of Partey, because if you didn't see the replay yesterday of that pass in the Ipswich match, that was like Thiago-esque, and maybe that's what Partey could do if he was given a bit more license to be a bit freer, knowing that someone who's, do you know what I mean, a bit more solid defensively is playing next to him. Maybe that could be the winner for Martinez to get that bit of freedom at Arsenal. But like Diablo is saying, he would get that role at United as well, because both of us need a DM. He says Ronaldo's pressuring United into making moves in a transfer window, or he is gone. But who could afford Ronaldo's wages? Yeah, that's the next thing, isn't it? Them wages ain't no joke. Net worth 2. Here we go. Martinez to Arsenal. Martinez wants to play left back. Arsenal are giving him that. We get to this one first. Please smash those likes in the chat. Yeah, guys, make sure we're liking and subscribing. I'm seeing a lot of numbers here. I love the comments coming in. Like, it really makes the show a bit better when you guys are interacting. But please make sure we're smashing the likes. Please, please, please. It doesn't cost anything to like and subscribe to this channel, and there's so much more content to come. So please just like it, subscribe it, and hit the comments, hit the chats. Even if you're watching this later, hit the comments, because I will be in there later having conversations with you all. So appreciate everyone that's on the stream. Do I have any Tillemans alternatives? Danny Ceballos. Nah, for me, Ruben Neves, I think Wolves have priced him out of the market. I think they was talking about 75 million, something like that. So to me, nah, it's a no-go. We was linked with Rabiot not so long ago. He's got 1 year left of his contract at Juve. Now, someone like that, I wouldn't be against it. His attitude's not the greatest sometimes, so I don't know how that mixes with Arteta, but I wouldn't be against it. But for me, it's Martinez number 1, number 2 is Tillemans, and number 3 will be Zinchenko. Just because, again, he offers the cover at left back. Because again, we've seen Tierney's injury record is not the greatest. So for me, if you get Zinchenko, he can play, he can ball, and then he could flip into left back, and Xhaka comes into centre midfield. So it just gives you the options. I did like the look of Basuma. I'm upset we kind of let him go Spurs. I think he's a quality player. I'm trying to see. There's even Isco's out there. I know he's a bit more advanced. Bernadeschi. I'm not really opposed to many. I would just want to see some creativity in this team. So um, yeah, I think I'm trusting the process. That's where I'm at with it all. I'm trusting the process. Obviously, I'm trying to be realistic with the targets I'm giving. I'm not going out there and saying Jude Bellingham. Like for me, he'd be brilliant, but obviously there's no chance we're getting someone like him. So I'm trying to be a bit realistic with the targets. I think Zinchenko could be available. However, you never know in it. City they drive a hard bargain sometimes. So we'll see. Jason's saying is defense a priority over attack given our injuries last season and how January was criticised because we didn't get an attacker when in fact it was defense that was the issue we didn't see coming. Um, I do think a bit of both, if I'm honest. I feel we've got what we need in defense as our starting point, but a bit of cover for Tierney. It's not saying Tavares is a bad player. I think he maybe just needs a loan somewhere where there's not as much pressure. He can get minutes under his belt and just play with a bit more freedom. I do think he's going to be a quality player, so I don't want to see us sell Tavares unless we have a buyback in there. But I think a loan will be good for him. Um, I definitely think we lacked a bit in attack last season. You see the amount of goals we scored compared to other clubs. It's not good enough, and that's what puts the pressure on the defense because they've got to try and keep a clean sheet for us to win a game. We're scoring one, maybe two in a game. It's not good enough. So for me, attack needs the most addressing. But I think it sounds weird. I think it's the balance of midfield. I think that's where we're lacking. Like there's not enough goals coming from midfield. Now, Aaron Ramsey, for instance, wasn't my favourite player at Arsenal, but what he gave you was runs into the box, third man runs, and he just creates problems. So he might not necessarily score the goal, but if he runs past your eyesight as a centre back, you think I've got to go with him. What does that create for someone else? A bit of space. And I feel this is where Xhaka had a good season, but he just doesn't give me enough on the other side. So that's what I'm feeling. If we put a DM in there and allow Partey to drive maybe and go box to box, that might help the attackers out. Because again, I don't think there was enough goals from Odegaard. Saka and Smith Rowe done okay. They've done well, but when you're seeing what other wingers are hitting, so if we're playing a system where our goals are willing to come from the wide areas, 10's good for players of that age, but when you're seeing Son hit 20s, Salah hits 20 regular, Mane 15s, like they may need a few more goals, but even that we need to ease the burden on them. So that's why a right winger for me is important. Left side, I think we're okay with Smith Rowe and Martinelli, and then Arsenal, that's the one position where there's not much of a drop off when we change one or the other. Like there's games where I'm saying Smith Rowe deserves to start, and then there's games where I'm saying Martinelli deserves to start. So for me, that's the one position where we're balanced enough to say we've got two quality players in that area. The right side, Saka needs some support. Pepe, for whatever reason, didn't give enough, whether it was him or Arteta not playing him. But you saw Saka's form start to dip a little. He's still giving you 6 and 7s. He's still nipping in with the old goal, but him having a little break might have made such a difference to his game. I like the signing of Jesus, and if anyone knows me, they know I like Nketiah. He's shown yesterday that he's a poacher. So if we could play higher up the pitch, then he will score goals, Nketiah. There's no doubt about it. So I'm quite happy with them two. Although I did want a big striker, I did want a plan B because I think Jesus and Nketiah in terms of stature are very similar. So I wanted a bit more presence. Even Ivan Toney holds got a bit more physicality in him. I like Callum Wilson. So it didn't have to be an Oshiman's the dream, but 80 million is a bit too much. So yeah, if you had to come for a number two, someone like a Callum Wilson, yes, he's injury prone, but that stature. Skamaka, I haven't seen much of him, but again, like the physicality. Look at what Giroud offered us. Like Ozil and that used to love playing with Giroud. He was like a brick wall. It's like playing 1-2 off a wall. You knew it was coming back to you. You get it in there, he's going to hold the defender. He's going to get it back to you, and you build off that. So there's no doubt to me, Giroud was vital to Ozil and Sanchez having the career at Arsenal that they had. So if someone like that for me who can bring others into play, because we saw when Lacazette was doing it well, he was bringing others in, but then he wasn't doing enough in the final third. So it's trying to get that link between kind of what Nketiah and Gabriel are going to bring you and what Lacazette brings you. Do you know what I mean? So I feel the centre midfield and attack was more important than defence. However, cover for Tierney is important because we saw in some games Tavares and even to Lokonga, as good as I think they're going to be, just not quite there just yet. So yeah, that's my thoughts. We need extra bodies to thicken up the squad, but as a starting position, I think centre mid's the one position where I want a new player in there. But I'm happy with someone to back up Saka. I'm happy for someone to back up Tierney. So they had to be on major signings. The major signing had to be striker and centre mid this year. The rest are just players to thicken up the squad. So I hope that makes a bit more sense at the end of that. Like I've gone on a 5-minute ramble and I summed it up in 1 minute at the end. Um, I can understand letting Basuma go in. He was under investigation at the time. Spurs gambled and won on that one, but how many times have seen those go the other way? Plus, there were no solid links. Yeah, I think that was more the fans linking us with Basuma, and he's meant to be an Arsenal fan. And again, time will tell. But I think it's the same with every transfer. Tielemans has got a great Prem career, but who knows? He could come Arsenal and absolutely bomb. You never know. Do you know what I mean? We've seen bigger names than Tielemans struggle at clubs. So yeah, it really depends on just how that player settles into the club and the system you play. But yeah, it was a bit of a, I think for the price of Basuma as well. I think again when we was looking at him last year, they were talking 50 mil. So to get him for 20 something, it's a steal. And defensively, he's very very strong and he covers ground very well. Um, Diablo Davis is saying, question for you, Gunners. With the targets they are looking at and the players really brought in, do you worry about being left behind Spurs? Conte is clearly being backed. Now, Conte as a manager is fantastic. Richarlison to me makes great sense for them. Tottenham have struggled to get a second striker or sub striker to Harry Kane because again, who in their right mind's going to go there and play second fiddle to him because he's got to play 100% of games if he's fit. Like only, do you know what I mean, a couple of games he might get rested, but he's the main striker. So if you're a decent striker, you're not going to go there because you're not going to get the minutes. Um, so I think this is a masterstroke, getting a winger who could play up front as well, because he will be able to make up his minutes elsewhere. And if Harry Kane gets injured, then he goes in and plays as your striker for 5, 10, 15 games until Harry Kane's back, and then he goes back on the wing again. Whether he's better than what they got in their positions doesn't matter. He's an improvement on their bench, and again, he's an improvement on their sub striker. So you could feed him a game left wing, game right wing, game on the bench, game back left wing, now a game up front. And he's going to get, so I mean, he might start 3 out of 4 games, give Son the opportunity to be rested, Kulusevski the same opportunity, and Harry Kane. So for me, it's a very intelligent signing. I'm not really too sure about the Perisic one, if I'm honest. There's talk about him playing left wing back, which again is an improvement on Sessegnon. And then Basuma, again, are very good. So that now midfield 3 of Bentancur, Basuma, and Højbjerg looks a lot stronger. Defensively, I think they're still a bit weak. They looked at Lenglet. I'm not really impressed by him. Probably an improvement of what they got, but yeah, I'm not really too stressed by him. In terms of being left behind, we're 2 points behind them, and I think we had probably injuries to 2 more significant players, whereas their main players got through the season, if that makes sense. The players they lost for injury probably weren't big hitters for them, so we're not far off them. Again, it's just going to come down to Conte is the better manager of him. I'll take 100%. But if things go wrong for Conte, we've seen how things can spiral out of control for him. So yeah, I don't think we'll get left behind them. Whether we catch them this year, again, what they have is they've got 2 world-class players and we still don't. I think our closest player to world-class is Partey. So as a collective, I think we play better than Tottenham, but they've got 2 great match winners up there, which is going to be a big difference to them. It's gonna, as I said, it's gonna be interesting. I'm not gonna go out there. I feel you killed me, Lawrence. I don't know what to say. I don't want to give Spurs the credit, but at the same time, they've been above us for the last few years, and they're strengthening. So again, even if Perisic isn't as good as say Tierney, he's an improvement on what they've got already if he plays left wing back. So yeah, it's a good signing for them really. And Foster's a good keeper. He's better than Galini, who was their backup keeper. So yeah, they've had a good window to be fair. For you, question for you: are you worried being left behind by Arsenal and Tottenham, or especially Tottenham? How are you feeling about it all? Again, it could be a fun, interesting season. Like with United, they came second, brought 3 what you thought players would take them to the next level, have them challenging for the title, and they ended up 6th. So these signings may not necessarily work. As I said, I feel Ronaldo, his presence had a negative effect on a lot of United players. So time will tell. We keep going, and I was meant to wrap up about 10 minutes ago, but comments are going crazy. You lot are still in the chat. I see a lot of numbers in here still. So again, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate you all. He wanted Arsenal, not the other way around, so I'm not fussed over that transfer. Not sure which one you're talking about there, Jason. So I've been rambling on so much. Oh, Basuma. He's on about Basuma. Um, Given Spurs have Champions League, the signings they have brought in aren't what I would call Champions League quality. They would definitely be up there again, but they're doing what we are, giving the squad more depth. Yeah, I don't think they've really improved on the 11, but they've definitely improved on the bench. Skamaka gives me Zlatan and Giroud vibes. Silver Fox is a big fan of Skamaka. So maybe this is an option. Maybe missing out on Rafinha. We know Jesus had a bit of time out there on the right flank for City. So maybe it's a choice of maybe we get Skamaka and then Jesus can play on the right. So if Saka is injured or needs a rest, Jesus can go on the right. Skamaka goes up front, and it gives you the a different striker. And again, like we saw with Lacazette, it was Aubameyang's the main striker, and then we started realizing actually we need something a bit different. So Lacazette gets the nod for a bit, and we may need that with, do you know what I mean? Jesus and Skamaka. There might be away games where you start with Skamaka, someone's going to hold the ball up, good in the box, opposition in the box as well. So when you're defending corners, he's very useful. Yeah, so maybe we don't look at a right winger. Maybe we just say, right, with Saka and Jesus, we got enough there. Plus, Reece Nelson's back as well, and I like Nelson, and I feel once. Anyway, I'm not going to talk too much on him. You're going to see him kicking this year or next. I think once he gets a bit more of that man size, man strength on him, you're going to see a right player there. So maybe it's going for another striker rather than a right winger. We need a taller striker, says Jason, that can head the ball if you want to throw balls into the box. But if we are going to play on the floor, then Jesus will be banging. And again, we need the other option. If plan A is not working, we need a plan B. And sometimes we don't have that. Man like One Touch is here. Yes, my Nigerian brother, all good. Man like Gumsa, I'm here, bro. I'm here. Canas is in the building as well. Yes, bro. Oh yeah, watched the stream yesterday. It inspired me to get on today. That's what inspired me. So big up to you as well, Canas, man. Always love. Um, in question to what I said earlier, if United are falling behind, yes, I feel we're behind the big six. We stagnated while you made changes and are now in a position to build a squad properly. We are a long way behind. And he's saying still trying to get rid of players from the Fergie era. Yeah, again, we've done it a way where we've had to lose a lot of players on a free, but long term, it's a lot better for us. If you look at our wage structure, I think Jesus jumps back up. He puts that a lot higher on his wages, but like I think there was only 5 or 6 players who earn over 100,000 at Arsenal, which is crazy compared considering where we were. We had Mustafis and Kalazinaks on over 100,000 a week. So yeah, they've done a good job in terms of getting a lot of the wages off the wage bill. Yes, as fans, we shouldn't be talking about wages too much. We just want quality players. But when you see what Liverpool's wage bill is, sometimes like some of their top players are on like 80,000 a week. Like, do you know what I mean? They've achieved so much of it. So it shows you don't have to be spending mad money to have good players. And I think, especially for United, they've just thrown money at players without really looking at that player's going to improve their squad. Might be a great name on paper, but does he fit the United mold or how the manager wants to play? They just sign players. So um, I feel in terms of our restructure, we're definitely ahead of United, but United do have more financial power. And we've seen they don't haggle as much over a mil here, 2 mil here. They will spend the money and get it done. Let's have a look what else he's saying. In my opinion, what is happening at United now with the players going should have happened 4 seasons ago. Yeah, you just hold on to players and then you can't get rid of again. But this is the problem: you put them on big wages. You're going to find that we're going to find it with Pepe. I think you're going to go for it with Martial, where you might want rid of these players, but no club's going to give them the wages you're paying them. So all you can do is offer them out on loan, subsidize half the wages, whatever it is, or part of the wages. Even if they pick up the wages, they're getting a player on a free almost because he's on loan, and then they're going to walk out the club. I'll be surprised if we can get rid of Pepe this year, and I'll be surprised if you guys get rid of Martial. I think it's just going to be loans, and I think you'll have these problems with a lot of your players. The money some of your players are on, your goalkeeper Henderson, backup keeper on over 100,000. I think you lot pay like, is it 350,000 on 2 keepers a week? Like, it's madness. Yeah, Maguire must be on big wages, so he's not going to go for around. The wages must be astronomical. Wan-Bissaka's are quite big. Rashford's wages are a joke. Sancho signed on 270,000 a week is crazy. Like, you lot spend a lot of money on wages. So again, anyone coming in, we're going to hold you to ransom. And as much as Pogba's, it's been made to sound he's very ungrateful for what United offered him. Actually, he's looking at it and saying, well, if you're paying Sancho 220, if you're paying Rashford 200,000, whatever you're paying him, I want 450. You're paying Ronaldo that. I want that because I'm that kind of player. Do you know what I mean? So who knows what Sancho's next contract's going to be, and what United might find is they're gonna. What happened with Pogba is going to happen a lot for them over the next few years. Is even if Sancho wants out in 2 years' time and the teams are ready to buy him, if they can't offer him a contract, he's going to sit tight and say, I'll walk out on a free because the next club I go to will give me the wages because they didn't have to spend 100 million on me in transfer fees. So that money then goes into my wages. So you're going to see that happen a lot at United. And we've seen that at Arsenal. Do you know what? We've had to release Lacazette and Aubameyang. That's like 100 million worth of strikers we've just released on a free. Ozil, do you know what I mean? Sanchez, we didn't get the money we should have got for him because we held on to him for 6 months too long. We had to swap him for Mkhitaryan, and then Mkhitaryan left on a free. So again, it's literally saying Sanchez left on a free. Yeah, we can go on for ages about that. So it's about getting these players in early. That's why I do like what Eddie's doing. He has brought in the right quality of player. It's a better quality than what we had. You know what I mean? We're in a better position on lower wages and a younger age, so they have a sell-on factor. So yeah, the work Eddie's doing has been really good. Because again, I'm not saying we're going to keep Martinelli, Saka forever. Like it'd be stupid of me to think that. But what we saw with Liverpool were on the verges. Coutinho, great player. They got it for like what, 4 mil, 8 mil, something stupid. Sold him for over 100. That brings in Van Dijk and Alisson. Now they're winning Champions League titles. I had a Liverpool fan on the channel the other day. He said he's not happy with a domestic double. Next year he's not happy with a domestic double. Like we would bite your hand off to get a domestic double. Do you know what I mean? And second place. So it shows where they are, and that's just because of investing in the right areas, getting the right profile of players in, and then selling them on for a profit to allow you to then go and buy 2 world-class players. So would it be sad to see some of our better players leave in a couple of years? Yes, it would, as we're building a young team, and to see them together might be really nice in 3 years. However, if the right bid comes in for one of them, you have to do it. You have to take the money. Otherwise, you risk losing them on a free, and then you can't reinvest that in your squad. We're not a City or PSG where we're just going to keep throwing out 200 mil windows. Do you know what I mean? This might be the biggest window we see in a long time from Arsenal. And after that, it might be, look, whatever you make, you can reinvest it. And that's why we need these younger players in. So then you can make money on them, and then you can reinvest them in other areas. So I like what we're doing at the moment. And I think we're ahead of United in terms of that rebuild. He's saying United don't have the financial power that everyone thinks. We are living off a name. We are not a desirable destination anymore. Yeah, I agree with that. And De Gea is on over 300,000 a week. It's crazy money for a keeper, innit? Did have a good season last year, but that is crazy money. But guys, I'm gonna wrap up there. Blessings for everyone that tuned in and listened. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're liking. If you're watching this back and later on and I'm not here, please drop a comment and I will reply by message in the YouTube channel. In a nutshell, just to wrap up, as I said, I spoke about the reason why maybe we're not going for Tielemans just yet, because maybe he sees Martinez as the centre midfielder, and that allows Partey to play as the like more attacking midfielder, not attacking, but more advanced central midfielder. So maybe that's why the Tielemans one hasn't been done yet. Maybe it's a case of we know we can get that done at any moment, so let's really push on Martinez because he offers a bit more in terms of variety. And then if that doesn't work, then we go and pull the trigger on Tielemans. But either way, it's going to be an interesting few weeks, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm hoping that we do get some more signings done. This could be an interesting week. If talks are to be believed, the rumours are believed, we're meant to be sitting down with Ajax tomorrow to kind of thrash out the deal. Again, the players still might say no, a bit like what we're seeing with Rafinha at Chelsea. He's turning and he's stalling. So we might get everything in place at Ajax, but it might be down to Martinez where he wants to go. So let's see what happens. Either way, it's going to be interesting. Bragging rights are going to be for one of us. Imagine if he does come Arsenal, what that says to United. Fans out there, if they can't get him in, even though he's played under Ten Hag, that's going to be a massive blow for them. Whereas I think it doesn't affect Arsenal as much because again, there is other charity targets out there. But guys, on that note, appreciate everybody. Enough love.